How's everybody going tonight? So I was able to record my first little segment, if you want, little introduction for my podcast. My story is basically I'm 44 right now. I became a police officer at 24. Been doing the job for 20 years. I really loved what I've done, and it's cliche. I became a police officer because I wanted to help people. Not about flexing muscle, because I don't have much, but it was really about helping people. And really love what I do. I started to get that police officer vibe, I guess. I've always wanted to be a job where you have a uniform. When I was grade 3, I wanted to be a firefighter. Police officer was always in the back of my mind. My dad was an auxiliary RCMP officer. So basically an auxiliary police officer, you're doing volunteer work. But it would give you some training, the uniform, and you would back up a regular member of the RCMP. So I saw him doing that throughout my life. He loved it. My dad still lives vicariously through me. He would have always loved to be an RCMP officer. So basically, I've kind of had it in my mind for a long time. I've always had jobs where you wear uniforms. Even after I initially wrote my first test, the first time I wrote the test for the RCMP, I failed. Pretty bad. And I think it was just me trying to do too good. They're just kind of going through my instincts. Because being a police officer, a lot of it is instincts. But, so that didn't go very well. I didn't pass it. I was 18, my first bachelor was in psychology. So I kept on going. Psychology, got my bachelor in there. Kind of forgot about the police thing. It was always in the back of my head. At this point in time, I'm 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. And I thought, you know what? Maybe being a guard, prison guard, would give me a good idea of what a police officer is. Well, let me tell you, I was in for a big surprise, because I don't think it's not. It's really a different world. And you have to understand, when I got out of, I've always had a baby face, let's put it that way. So I get on my first bachelor. I'm still very green to the world. I haven't lived like other people have done. So I applied for a job, in St. John, at the prison there. Get that? As a prison guard. I moved over there. new job out of my usual comfort zone. I knew I was going back to university after. Like, I knew it wasn't full time, but I figured, you know what? Good opportunity. So, apply for the job, go there, get the job. I got my first cell phone, those brick phones. Those first cell phones that came out, they're about the size of a brick. You wore that on your hip. But let me tell you, you were cool if you had one of those. Anyway, that was the sidebar. So I worked there. It was a summer job. I ended up staying there 2 months. I really didn't want to do it. I realized it wasn't my cup of tea. And I already knew I was going back to university. So I'm like, you know what? I'm bailing. I basically, gave him a good little see ya. I ain't coming back. That summer I went off working at Kent Building Supplies. So I was there for the summer. I went to law school. So I kept on going. My studies weren't finished. Worked in law school or studied law. And what actually got me going in or thinking of police is I met somebody in law school. We got into a relationship. She was in the process before I got in. She was super smart. And after we finished her first year, she was done after first year. She did her civil law in Quebec. She just came to finish her common law in New Brunswick. So basically we hooked up, first year, whatever. Everything was going good, really. But then she gets this call that Depot Division in Regina was opening up again. And that's why she hadn't gone before. They shut her down. It was opening up. She was one of the candidates before. And they basically said, if you want to come back, now's the time. So I told her, I said, look, as much as it's really good with us, that's quite an opportunity. You gotta go. She went there. Our relationship continued. It didn't work out. But that's fine. That's how life is. But that put that little seed back in my head. So I wrote the test again for the RCMP. I wrote it. I was a summer student. And I guess that really gave me the desire to go back. I was a summer student. I was able to drive a car. I was going all over the place. The only thing our uniform didn't have we had a little patch that said student, and we didn't have a gun. But besides that, everybody would look at us. They thought we were full-fledged police officers. That's, when you're 20 years old or whatever, it's good to have that status, I guess. But I did that job, gave me the itch again to go. So I wrote the test that summer. That was 99. Wrote the test. And then I was going into my second year University of Moncton, and in law school, and then I got accepted. And just so happened that year, there was some sort of a lockout. There was some sort of lockout at the university. There was a strike. I was able to complete everything I needed to do. Like, I did everything I needed to do, physical, whatever you name it. So I did it. So I was there, had everything done, and sent all my paperwork in, and then I had my interview, and we went from there. Did my interview, got in. Finally got in. And so at this point, they were telling me I was going to go in November. So let's say I got the news in summer of 2000. They said, yeah, you'll be going this summer. But all of a sudden I get a call. November. All of a sudden they gave me a call. They said, hey, we got a spot for you in 2 weeks. August 21st. You want it? I'm like, yeah. So at that point in time, I still had a year left, and we can discuss that further in my next podcast. But so yeah, so I got in. I remember my dad. You gotta understand, my dad lived vicariously through me. He always wanted to be a police officer. Always. So if anybody was proud, it was him. So I got everything together. We went shopping. My father was right there. I could have asked for the moon, and he would have got that for me. Like, he was so happy. So I get everything, and I take off for depot. So this is 2000, August 2000. Yep. I went there, Regina, August 2000. I had trained quite a bit before. You know, they tell you what to do, get in good shape, this and that. So I was pretty sure I was ready for it there. And as you'll see as I go forward, like, I did lose quite a few pounds. Depot was very regimented, and no matter what you're doing, you're gonna lose weight. If you're working out, if you're going through the motions, you're gonna lose weight. It's a different world there. It affects you mentally, physically. And you realize that at the end, how it's hard, but it's hard for a reason. So I don't have a lot of time left. I'm gonna say goodbye for now. Second podcast. I think it's gonna be fun. I just want to tell you how it goes. Right now, I really like my job. I've been doing it for 20 years. But I want to let you, kind of give you guys an indication of what it was. So you have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.